you're right, Terry. But people are trying to look at Bitcoin as almost like a gold, and it was called a hedge. It was called they were treating it like a share price and that sort of thing. Then you get an exchange traded fund which trades crypto, which is, I mean, yeah, exchange traded funds are not backed by anything. You've got an investment in something that's not backed by anything, that of something that is nothing on zeros of a computer screen again. Like there's a lot of air in the system. I don't understand why Bitcoin would be treated such as gold. I don't understand why it would be a hedge down track. It has seemed to behave that way because it's whenever things have gone on, it's sort of balanced back out. I can't see why it would keep doing that. There is no fundamental to it. Because it's essentially a fiat currency, right? So fiat currency is only worth something if everyone else says it's worth something. That's it. That's it. It's just like our folding money. It's only worth something because we all believe it is. If I try and buy a lump of eggs with a bit of paper that I've coloured in green, and someone goes, "What the fuck is this?" Like, oh, well, that's a Scott dollar. It's equivalent to 10 Australian dollars, and they go, "Get the fuck out of here." And I'm like, okay, well, can I give you a lump of ham from my fridge? Yeah, I'll take a lump of ham because it's something. That's whereas I think my Scott dollars worth something. They don't. So the problem is if everyone eventually the governments go, we don't believe Bitcoin exists. It never existed. And everyone goes, you're right. Maybe it never existed. And Bitcoin's going through the floor. So what was it a hedge against? Nothing. Gold and silver at least has some manufacturing qualities and abilities. Look, gold's used in a lot of circuitry and stuff like that. Well, it used to be in platinum and things, right? I'm guessing it still is. What I didn't realize was that silver actually sits inside some solar panels. It's actually got a commercial use, right? So whilst precious metals are still like repeatedly used in different societies where they've tried fiat and collapsed and they've gone back to gold, like they're still at least got some commercial production value as well. Bitcoin is only worth something if everyone else thinks it's worth something, just like non-fungible tokens and ETFs, all those things, and we'll talk about that another day because I don't want to get into that stuff. But
I'm almost feeling like like you said, it's been going up, but I don't see a lot of people using it for daily transactions like a currency. And my worry is that if it stops going up, it might just stagnate where people go, well, it's not an investment anymore, so I might as well take my money out of it. And then and then nobody's actually using it day to day. And that's kind of what I don't know what you think. What's your thought about it? Like, I think you need to have it being used daily by people for mundane tasks before it to actually catch on and be a rival to, say, the US dollar.
Absolutely. Look, I would love Bitcoin to be able to use like currency and some of the other coins to be able to use just like currency at a store. The problem with that is that the governments want to be able to tax them. So I can't see that being a terrible issue. They could do that if they wanted to. The problem is the transaction costs. If I want to go down and buy a round of 4 beers at the beer garden down down on Beach Road, and whatever it's going to cost me. And then I try and pay for it in Bitcoin because those guys, from memory, those guys take Bitcoin down there, which is great. But the transaction costs are probably about as much as the round of beers, right? And so it's not practical to keep doing that and buy a taxi with it, buy a pizza. And so it really seems to be only if you can shift big amounts that it makes sense. Look, it started out as being black market stuff on the dark web. You need a Bitcoin. And you know what? So be it. If that's the worst thing, if you've got to take a bit of bad with good about having a people's currency, then I would be all for it. But you're right. Until it can involve in day-to-day transactions, it can't really be a currency. It can only be something else. And so, I mean,
maybe an international trade and finance currency, like you said, for big ticket items, but maybe not a day-to-day.
Look, when I listen to people who are what I would call global sort of people, right? Transatlantic kind of guys, like I'm over here, then I'm over there, and cross transactions of different things with like their banking stuff. They go, you know what? If I had to escape I'm Chinese and I need to get out of the country and I can't go on the plane with a heap of the gold I've stashed up because I can't get through the metal detector. I can't take my wealth. Everything else is locked down. However, I've got a thumb drive with some Bitcoin and some other coin, Ethereum and things like that. So if I can get out of the country and if I can go live in Australia or if I can go live in Ecuador, I can take some of my wealth with me on a memory stick and download it into Ecuadorian dollars. So it's some sort of store of wealth that is above the system, right? So when you keep thinking about it's above the system, you realize why it's a threat to the system.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that it wins. I'm hoping the system has a real big recalibration because I don't like the way it runs at the moment. Big call. So I don't know if everyone's happy to have that call with all their wealth, right? Or a portion of their wealth. Gold and stuff, just hard to get on a plane and move house with all your gold.
But gold's the oldest currency in the world, so it's not going anywhere.
And look, if you really wanted to, you could store gold in Las Vegas. You could store gold in the Perth Mint in Australia. You could store gold in Switzerland. You could store gold in Singapore, and you'd try and pick a government regime that isn't going to steal your gold. Who knows which one which was done in the past in the 1920s. It was like the US had this thing where they went and sort of taxed a whole lot of gold deposits and said it's patriotic for you because we're out of money. Or was it something? Things were going on. It's just this stuff happens.
Speaking of that, were you reading about? I watched this documentary and I never finished it, but it was about the Federal Reserve, I believe, in New York City, and there was a bunch of missing gold. And that was supposed to be like belonging to the French and the Germans and the Swiss, and it was listed as being present at the First Federal Reserve Bank in Manhattan or whatever it was, and then when one of the countries said we'd like our gold now, the actual physical gold, they were like, can we have a couple of days to sort that out? And so, yeah, and I don't know what the resolution was to that, but it was.
When was that?
It was a few months. It was a few months back that I was watching it, but it was just there was, it was kind of a little bit. It was seeming a little bit shady.
What time period?
This is over years. Like this is gold that had been in this bank in the U.S. for like 40 years. And and then when it was time to actually get the actual physical gold, all of a sudden it was like, maybe we don't quite have it. But so there's a question whether the United States actually has as much gold in its reserves as it says it does.
You're right, Terry. And I don't want to. It's not for me to speculate how much the gold the US is short of or surplus of. Anything is possible in this crazy day and age, and as long as I guess they get the withdrawals sorted out within a certain time, maybe that's okay. Look, at the end of the day, if let's say all the gold was missing, what would happen? Start a war, take everyone's focus off it. Let's go and push on someone. Hey, look over there. What's that Russian guy doing? Let's go. Boom. Okay, we're back on. And everyone's got to buy our tanks and our submarines and helicopters and give us the money now. We'll give you all those armaments in 30 years' time. But we need the money now. And we need you to go to war with us. But you go first.
Yeah. Well, no, I believe actually that's how the gold ended up in the States in the first place. It was like, pay us now and we'll give you some stuff later.
It's very interesting where, the US financed most countries in World War II and they didn't want to, but they kind of got dragged into it. They just wanted to stay outside and trade with both sides of the war, and then they kind of got dragged into it. Eventually, had to go into one, and then the Pacific War started, and that was pretty interesting as well. And they bombed the crap out of the Japanese, which the Japanese had it coming, and then financed them back into some sort of civilization. I think Japan still might look, those war bonds are still not fully repaid yet. So, being the victor of a war and then lending lending the loser all this money is profitable business.
I think I might be wrong, but I think it was 2012 was when Germany finally ended up repaying their loans from World War II. It was 2012 or something like that. It was, but speaking of that documentary, I will find it and I will put it in the comments underneath the podcast so that people can have a look at it if they want. The one about the gold, the missing gold. I'll find it.
what's it called? Where does my gold? You know, I can measure.
It was something on like Frontline PBS or something like that. So it was a reputable documentary, but I just can't remember the name of it.
You know,
I'll find it.
I can picture the French turning up saying, "Where is our gold?" And they send down the sales guy in the Cadillac or something. Like, no, don't worry about it. Hey, don't worry about it. We're taking that to lunch, guys. Like, hey, it's me. You know, that sort of guy, like distracting him while they go, for God's sakes, get the gold. Oh my God, call Las Vegas, get the gold. It's like, you know, like when he's just taking them around. You know, hey, have you ever seen the bloody Statue of Liberty?
I got the impression that's pretty much what they did, but like a less comical version of that. I think they said to the Swiss, I think it was, we're going to need 2 or 3 days to fulfill your request, and they had to get it shipped in from Fort Knox to cover the amount that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And almost like, and hey, we've got a guy who's going to take you to all the strip clubs in that meantime, so that you're distracted and you think we're great guys, and we've also got photos of you, and so you know what, everything will get smoothed over.
Yeah.
Well, I could be in the I could be in the
you could be an international banker.